You mentioned high alpine climbing. What style and bouldering, what styles of climbing is there? What all does high alpine climbing entail?
Sure. So technically, it depends. There's a multitude of mediums to climb on, right? And there's a multitude of styles of climbing. So what we say is alpine climbing is basically climbing in the mountains, multi-pitch, long routes. Not a lot of resources available if you have an incident, and much more self-reliant. And generally takes a little bit more of a mastery of multiple skill sets. There's traditional climbing or trad climbing, which is using gear. Mostly these days it's removable, so cams and chalking devices or nuts, where you're placing gear in cracks, you're climbing those cracks or features on the wall, and you're removing that gear. And then there's sport climbing, which is, in general, fixed anchors, which are bolts and basically a hardware anchor, and the rock where you clip as your fall protection. We don't have a ton of sport climbing in the park. In fact, there's not really any that we classically say is sport climbing, but Boulder Canyon and some other areas in the zone are very popular with sport climbing. Generally, those are single pitch. So you climb, half a rope length or so, maybe 100, 150 feet, and you come back down to the ground, versus like multi-pitch climbing, which is you're climbing rope length after rope length after rope length till you're to the top of a feature. And then there's bouldering, which is some people refer to as pebble wrestling, but climbing, large boulders, and mostly, in areas with good landings or things like that, but not always. But generally, bouldering has some very hard sequential moves, right? So people are really honing in on kind of like this gymnastic style of climbing, very difficult, but for short periods of time or short lengths.
Some people call it pebble wrestling. You would never call it that, right?
No, by no means.